So today we'll be talking about attitude and how our attitude can impact on our altitude. So I have with me today a guest speaker, someone who has inspired a lot of people, someone who I'm sure would share a lot from his personal experience. And he would be drawing from his own lived experiences, to discuss with us today. But before I go on to introduce the guest speaker for today, I would like to say that we would be taking some questions, between 5 to 10 questions at the end of the presentation. If you would like to ask some questions, please use the chat box. Just drop your questions in the chat box, or you could also use the raise hand tab, just down below the system. And I have the honor of introducing Engineer Toib Adewale Adelodun, who is our guest speaker for today. Engineer Toib is a civil engineer with over a decade experience, having worked with Tier 1 contractors such as Costain, Skanska, and Balfour Beatty. Toib has a passion for personal development and coaching. And as the Chief Service Officer, Toib Adelodun International, he has dedicated himself to sharing his knowledge and empowering individuals to access global opportunities. Through his coaching and mentorship, Toib guides people on various aspects of life, from vocational job prospects in the UK to securing scholarship, mental health, and mastering the art of grief and resilience. With a commitment to making a positive impact in the lives of others, Toib Adelodun continues to inspire and uplift individuals, helping them to navigate the complexities of both their professional and personal journey. I would like to welcome Engineer Toib Adelodun to speak to us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abi. Thank you so much. And well, I don't know how to start, but I think we'll just go ahead and make a start. Thank you for that introduction. And tonight, it's going to be very, we'll take ourselves through different types of journey and just try and understand where we are, where we want to be, and the things that we need in this day and age where so many things are going the way they want to go. How can we control what we can? How can we, continue to forge ahead, against all odds? And that's what we'll be talking about tonight. So I'll just bring up my slide now so that it's easier for us. And if there is anyone that needs the slides later on, you can probably reach out to Dr. Abi. I'll try and get the slides across to her so that you can just take it and use it for yourself. Okay. 1, 2. Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
If you can see the slide, please just type yes in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. So before we make a start, I want to know where are our participants from? Because that will just give me a very fair idea of the places I would like to touch and the places I would like to, you know, where we want the discussion to go. Botswana, wow, that's amazing. United Kingdom, beautiful Nigeria, United Kingdom, Abeokuta, Iluegba. I went to Abeokuta Grammar School actually, so that's interesting. Hull, South Africa, amazing. UK, wow, United Kingdom, Scotland. Okay. Hull, Dion, I can see you, my brother. Good evening. Okay, Nigeria. We have a lot of Nigerians. Okay, so that means we have a diverse Mushin representative. That's my home area. Good to see you, brother. So we have a kind of diverse audience from all around the world. So I'll take on the topic as good as it can be. And one thing I've always found out is that once we run through the slides as quickly as possible, when we get in questions always help us to touch those places that we may not have touched during the presentation. So let me go through the slide as quickly as possible, and then we'll take in as much questions as we can. Dr. Abi, we are doing that, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So thank you very much. That introduction by Dr. Abi, I don't know, like I just try to get on with things the way life is, because it is not very, very easy from where we come from our background. So it's just that continuous commitment, like we are not going to give up, we are not going to give in. That is what has got me where I am today. It has not come without challenges, and all of us have several stories of those challenges. So tonight we are just going to talk to each other, try and help each other to get to that next level. What can our attitude, the way what we believe about life, how can it help us and attract those things we want? And then we can always progress and just aim as high as possible. So let me see. Right, okay. So I'll just introduce myself again. My name is Toyi Badewale Adelodu. I've been living in the United Kingdom for like 15 years now, more than 15 years. I wear a number of hats, as Dr. Abi was saying earlier. But tonight, I just want to talk to you as a friend, as a brother. I want us to rub minds together and, commit to plans and not wanting to remain the same, wanting to make a few tweaks here and there, and it can help us to grow and develop. I was born in Mushin, Lagos, Nigeria, in the mid-80s. So I'm looking at 40 years very, very soon. My parents moved to Mushin, Lagos, Nigeria. They moved from a village. They call it Okeho in Oyo State. So when they moved, the same way people will move from the village to the city, trying to get the best for themselves, trying to find a good place to settle. But the kind of money you are bringing in from the village will determine where you settle, where you get to the city. And that was a challenge for them. So they settled in Mushin. And Mushin is we call those places trenches, like it is a very, very tough place to grow up. And for my parents, they tried so hard that, okay, despite all the challenges, we are going to try as much as possible so that these children do not go the wrong way, because there's so much influence around us in that area. And anytime I go there, I still see those challenges as well. When I go and be like, why has this not changed? Why has this not changed? What is going on? How can we help much young people to grow and see beyond the walls of this society? Because that is one big challenge for us as young people, to see beyond the ceiling that is above us, to see beyond, like to think outside the box, because somehow there's a psychological box that we are in, which is what we see every day, the people we mingle with, the kind of books we read, the kind of mentors we have. If you don't see beyond that, you will always act within what you are seeing. So, like a stone's throw from my house, there's a place where we used to call it HQ. Like before you walk 20 meters, you get to HQ. HQ is behind the police station. But unfortunately, why they call it HQ is because everybody converge there and smoke weed, you know? And when you grow up in that kind of area, you just want to think, okay, how like, it takes a lot for you to see beyond that kind of thing. My parents never went to university. They were just secondary school graduates. But once my dad was working, my dad found out about a school that was not far away from where we lived. But that school was super, super expensive, very expensive. They couldn't afford it. And my dad came home and he spoke to my mom. I was just around 5 years old then. And they said, look, if we put money together and get this boy to go to the school, you know, maybe we are not going to be able to afford clothes. We are not going to be able to afford this. Let us try and get this boy to this school, this very, very good school that is international, that is exceptional. It's a Montessori school. So they gathered everything they had. They sent me to that school. And there was some of our neighbors. There's this joke that my mom still used to tell me. Some of our neighbors, when they asked my mom, which school is this your child going? And she said, it is this school. They say, how much are they paying there? And she made the mistake of telling them how much they paid. And the question, the remarks of the people was, is it Cambridge that is in the school? Why do you have to pay so much? That is why you don't have any clothes, because you are committing all your resources to this school. So 5 years old then, my mom sat me down because they heard about a scheme in that school. And that scheme was that if you are the first in class, let's say you are in primary 1, for example, if you are the first in class in the first time, if you are the first in class the second time, if you are the first in class in third time, you will not pay for primary 2's tuition. And that sent ringing bells to my mom. And she was like, look, there is no way in the world you are going to come second in class. There is no way. And I will study with you, I will read with you, I will do everything I can, but you cannot become second. And that revelation literally took away my childhood. I couldn't go out to play football. I couldn't go out to run with anybody. I just had to come back home from school. And just started reading. There was no way I was going to become second. And one of the key reasons that happens is that my books, because my younger siblings, they were homeschooled with my books. They didn't go to primary school at all because they couldn't keep up with the kind of scholarship I kept up with. So my mom took them home and then she used my books to homeschool them. And that was how I went through primary school. And then I got to secondary school. There was this military school I went in Jos. And then the first year, we did the first year. And then the second year, they increased the school fees. And just if you have a guess how much that school fees was then, it was 7,000 naira. They increased the school fees to 7,000 naira. And believe me, we couldn't afford 7,000 naira. We went around. We couldn't afford 7,000 naira back then. That was how I left the school. I stayed at home for 1 year. And we found another school in Abeokuta. That was why I eventually went to Abeokuta Grammar School. And I enrolled at Abeokuta Grammar School. It was tough as well because we raised the school. It was just, that tussle that you have. These days when I get DMs of people, I really, really understand how things are, because where we come from, like nobody really, really looks out for you. If you are born by parents that don't have money, that challenge is always very, very hectic. You know, you just really have to go out and figure things out by yourself. It's not like here in the UK where you go to primary school for free, secondary school for free. When you go to the university, you get student loan. Back where we come from, if your parents cannot afford it, your trajectory is going to be very, very tough. And that is what I try to tell a lot of young people these days, that, look, do not be too hard on yourself, because there are so many things that are out of your control. Where you were born, the people you live with, the resources your parents have, the kind of mentors you have early on in your life. You can't really choose that. So if you don't have those resources, things can be a little bit slow. You know, you may not meet up with a lot of your team, your age mates, and that is okay. You know, don't feel depressed about that. You know, just pick yourself up and understand that this journey is your own journey. You're going to take it one step at a time. You're not going to rush. Everything will happen in your own time. And that is always my my preaching to young people, because in this day and age where we have lots of social media, where everybody is putting their best foot forward, everybody is making it look like life is rosy, it's actually not. If you are not getting your support from somewhere, or someone has paid the price for you before, you have to pay the price for yourself, and definitely your journey will be slower than every other person. You just have to understand where you are and where you are going. So I went through primary school, secondary school. It was very, very tough. I remember I was in SS3. It was a few weeks to my WAEC. That was when my dad was able to buy this chemistry textbook, Ababio. And he came to Abeokuta and he was rushing, bringing that Ababio. And I was like, oh, Daddy, we are about just a few weeks to the exam. Anyways, thank you very much. I prostrated, he left. I did what I could do, and the exam went well. Then I got an admission to Lautech. When I finished secondary school, I was about 18 years. I knew how tough things were for my parents back home. It was very, very difficult for me to go and ask them for money and say, hey, give me money for this, give me money for that, because I actually know how hard they are struggling. And if you look at our society today, you see that same thing playing out again. Like, they increase school fees all of a sudden, parents can't afford it. All of a sudden, young people are having to leave school. They don't know what is going on. They don't know what to do. And these are the things that are just happening every day. And you just wonder, when is this going to ever change? But what I've learned to understand is that we cannot control what is going on around us. We can't control it. We can't control all those kind of things. But what can we control? How we react to things. Are we going to, it's like they don't want to give this thing to you before. And then if you have a couple of trials, you now go back and say, no, I'm not going to do again. You know, they will be happy because they don't want to give it to you anyways. So you have to have that fortress inside yourself and say, no, I am not going to give in. I went to Lautech. First year was fine. Second year, because I had a younger sister that has sickle cell, and she just graduated recently, a few months ago. And going through those kind of things always put us into a lot of financial problems, because when she has a crisis, there's just so much going on, and you just think, when will this thing ever change? Second year in Lautech, I dropped out again because the resources were not there. I now came back to Lagos. I was just like hanging around, you know, just trying to figure things out. Then someone came to me and said, Wale, you seem to be a very bright chap. That was around 2003, 2002, 2003. He said, Wale, you seem to be a very bright chap. There is this thing going on the internet, and it is called SAT, from College Board in the US. If you write SAT and you score very, very high, you can actually get a scholarship to America. I was like, what? How's that even possible? That's how we jumped on the internet, and we started sending emails to several schools, you know, send email here, just chasing schools. And then it now came to me that, wow, so this thing is actually possible. So I wrote SAT and I scored 1150 out of 1,600, which is like about 70%. So when I scored 1150, I sent my score to different schools and I got a full tuition scholarship. I'll pay for living expenses, but I won't pay for tuition. So I said, wow, this is interesting. My mom was so happy. She was just extremely happy that, wow, you go to the US, you go and study, our life will change, things will be better. You know, like this first child, I've carried that burden on me. It's just the way it is. But unfortunately, I didn't know there was another challenge in front of me, which was the US Embassy. So anytime I go, my mom will be on her prayer mat. She'll be praying and praying and praying and praying. All the time that I go, she will be. But the embassies, they are very, very different. And this is one lesson I want us to learn from there is that confidence and communication is very, very important. When I used to go to the embassies, there is a huge weight on my shoulder. Like, this thing is going to change my life. And I am not a very, very confident person back then. I mean, it's a continuous thing that you have to work on. When I go there, my legs will be shaking, my hands will be shaking, the consular will be looking at me, and I will not be like, sometimes all the things that I've practiced, I will just forget it. And you know, these people, they don't like you if you don't have confidence. They will look at you, they will think you are lying. And I went to the embassy 5 solid times. They didn't give me the visa. My mom will pray, she will cry, this thing is not working, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I just felt, well, that's not a problem. We'll keep pushing. But what I did was that we had a small group back then in Mochi. We had a small group, about 10 of us. We were just doing different kind of things. Some people would be studying about UK. Some people would be studying about Germany. Some people would be studying about Europe. We knew everything that was going on in terms of schools. You know, if you wake me up and say, what do I need to go to get to the UK? I'll give you everything from the top of my head. What do I need? I knew that Germany was tuition free. It is still tuition free till today. Czech Republic is tuition free. If you want to study in their language, it is still the same till today. So I knew all of that on my fingertips, and people used to come and buy that information from me. You know, they want to register SAT, they want to do this, they want to do that. All those people from Ikoyi, they'll come, they'll bring their child, they'll bring the child to us there in Moshi, and then we'll say, this is what you do, this is how you do it, and that. And people were getting admissions. They were getting their visas. They were going to study abroad. So that gave me the confidence that one day this thing will work for me as well. I went to a couple of European countries as well. They said no. Then eventually, I tried the United Kingdom. And the reason why I didn't try the United Kingdom was that United Kingdom, there wasn't a lot of scholarship for undergraduate. So that's why I put it very, very last, because I just thought it would be a hassle to come here and not have that huge amount of money. But as God will have it, which is not the case now, back then, you don't need to pay the huge deposit that a lot of people pay now to get admission. If I had to do that, maybe I wouldn't be here. So I tried United Kingdom in the end, and then I was refused the first time as well. But I had a lawyer that I used to go and sit down in his house. So he used to do like right appeals for people. So I used to go to his house and sit down there. He used to send me everywhere, and I helped him. So he now said, look, let me help you sort out this appeal, and hopefully they will give it to you. And he just did the appeal for me for free. And then I got admission to come to the I got the visa to come here to study. The funny thing is that they gave me that visa because it was an appeal. They gave me the visa, I think around July, but they didn't open the visa until September. So I had like 8 or 10 weeks where I had my visa in my hand, but I couldn't travel. You can imagine the tension within those 8 weeks. If they are fighting in my area, I'll just dodge and go to the other side, because nothing must happen to me in that period. Everything depended on what is happening at that time. So if I go out 4 o'clock, I'm back in the house, I'm just lying down. I was just counting down, saying, God, this visa, nothing must happen to me. I must go to the UK and everything will be all right. So eventually September came, I came to the UK. I started going to school and I started working, you know, doing your 20-hour shifts. I got a job at the nightclub And I was just, you know, doing what you had to do. Worked as a cleaner, worked as a postman, all the jobs that was available, we did. Security, attendant. There wasn't anything that we didn't dabble on just to keep life going. But shockingly, in 2011, something happened to me that changed my direction entirely. And I went to work that particular night. It was April 29, 2011. I went to work that night. That was the night before Prince William's wedding. And somehow I landed in the hospital. And I'll be in the hospital for the next 5 months. It was an experience that I never thought would happen. It's till today, because I ordered my medical records from NHS and they sent it to me. It was loads of PDF. And I was reading through it. I was like, wow, how did all this happen? You know, like I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act. I was in the hospital. I was just like, sometimes I was heavily medicated. By the time I came out, I had like, my weight has increased. I was over 100 kilos. I now started rehabilitation. I had started seeing psychologists and so many things after that. I was extremely depressed. Like, wow, after all my struggles in life, why would I now fall? Like, why would this happen to me? Why me? Like, after all these things that I've done, after all the challenges that I've had, why would this now happen to me? I was about 26, 27 then. So the degree that I came to the UK to get, I have not gotten it. Do I have any money saved? I don't have any money saved. And here I am, I just came back from the hospital. And when I came back from the hospital, the landlord had evicted me. You know the way UK is, if you don't pay your rent, the landlord doesn't care. So they knocked on the door, they took everything I had away. And when I came out, people started giving me, some people gave me a shirt, some people gave me a trouser. And someone just said, some family just said, come back, come and stay with us. If you don't mind managing on the couch, it is fine. You wake up, you know. And you know, if you're managing on the couch, you should be the first person to wake up and the last person to sleep, because you cannot be inconveniencing the person that allowed you to squat. So that was how I started life back again. And that point was a very, very low point, because I thought, how else would I start? Where would I go? What would I do? Like everything, I just didn't know what else to do. Then I decided, like, after a while, after the depression, the suicidal thoughts, I just thought, look, you are not going to die. You just now need to stop competing with anybody. Just take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Whatever will happen, will happen. Just take it one day at a time. So one of the things I did, I left social media entirely, and I just started working on myself. If I could go to the gym for 10 minutes, I'll go. I just left everything and felt, look, let me just take it one day at a time. This life is my life. I'll keep progressing. I'll keep doing my best. And that was how it all started. And someone introduced, I went to cut my hair one time, and another point there is just open your mouth and tell people what you want. You don't know where your help is going to come from. Just tell people, you know, I'm in need of a job. Don't hold your thoughts in terms of seeking opportunities. Ask people. So I went to the barber shop. That barber has remained my friend till today. I went to the barber shop that year and I said, look, I'm looking for a job. And he was like, the guy that stood up just now was saying there is some laborer job somewhere, but he said the laboring job is very hard though. I said, how can it be hard when I'm unemployed? I go, I'll do the job. And he introduced me to the guy, and that's how I started construction as a laborer. When I got to construction as a laborer, I was just there asking questions. I saw people there. I was asking them, what do you do? How do you do it? What did you do? And you'll be surprised how people will open up to you and say, go and do this course, go and learn this, go and learn that. And that was how I started growing gradually from a laborer. I started driving the hoist. From the hoist, I started doing traffic marshal. I was just doing different roles in construction. I worked in the store as well. I was giving materials to people. And then someone told me that, look, you have to figure out what you want to do very fast. Then I asked questions all around. And I thought, oh, my math skills are still not that bad. So I got into construction. I started following the engineers. I was carrying their box as their assistant. And going on from that, people were showing me knowledge. Anything I learned from site, I just go back home, go on YouTube, just learn and learn and learn. And that was how things started picking up. From assistant site engineer, I started working as an engineer on site, doing setting out and surveying. And then I went back to school. You know, I was 30 years when I went back to school. I was one of the oldest person in my class. All the people in my class, they were like 17, 18, 19. When they give us assignment, they were playing around. I said, me, this is my last chance. I cannot play with this kind of thing. So, but it's just that sometimes some of us are unwilling to take that step back to move forward. But there's a thing when they talk about shooting an arrow, there is no way you shoot an arrow, you have to pull it back to move it forward. So you don't know. You don't know. It doesn't matter. You can take a step back, you know, go back and start another course again, go back and start another career again. All those things are possible. You know, they say, somebody is at 30 years old, he said he cannot do a course again because by the time he finishes, he'll be 35. But the thing is that whether you do the course or not, you'll be 35 in 5 years. It's better you are 35 with a new career path than you are 35 with nothing. So those are the kind of things I want us to draw from this journey that I'm sharing. So I got into construction. I went back to university. I did a course in civil engineering at South Bank University. And since then, the career has just been growing. From starting as a laborer, I ended up in project management, doing project planning and control, and life has been good. You know, the last part of that journey, the last 5, 6 years, I've experienced the kind of growth that I have never, ever dreamed of. And that was why I said, look, if I go on construction site, I've worked on Crossrail, I've worked on HS2, I've worked on iconic projects. I found out that if I do that, I'll get paid, I'll go home, I'll relax. There is no thrill in it. And that's why I came back to say, okay, let me see how I can help people that are in the middle of, you know, trying to sort things out. How can I help them with my experience? How can I help them with the knowledge I've acquired? And that has been my journey so far. And it has been humbling, the kind of impact that sharing the story, sharing the knowledge, like some of the things I say about travel abroad or study abroad are the things that I have known for more than 20 years. And you find out that those things are still the same, maybe just a little bit tweak, you know, to what is there. Most of those information are still the same. So the goal now is to help as much people to get what they want, you know, whether you want to go to school, whether you want to get a job, whether you want to study abroad, whether you want to work remotely, whether you want to, whatever you want to do, I want to tell you it is available. It is possible. But the first thing is that you have to, first of all, believe it is possible. And when I moved to this country, I think I shared this story one time. A couple of people that we used to roll with, they used to say, if we make £2,000 a month, that is life. Life is good. Why do you need to worry yourself? If you make 2K a month, you should be fine. You should be okay. But then I met people that were doing 3K a month. I met people that were doing 4K a month. I met people that were getting £500 a day. And those are the kind of limits that you kind of had before and think, wow, these things are not possible. But trust me, all these things are very, very possible. But it just depends on what we want. Do we actually want it? Do we actually want to work for it? Do we actually want to seek the information to get it? And those are the things we'll try and run through today. So that's me. Like, I think this was around 2007, 2008. See my head there like a dry fish. Then that's me when I visited the place about, I think that was last year when I went. Then my parents came down this year, and it's just surreal, like having them come around, and it's the feeling, you can't really explain it. It's just beautiful. And then my mom said, she was feeling hot. Then I got some tickets for us to go to Gibraltar, and I took the two of them down to Gibraltar. And it's something, those kind of, like, they never went on the plane before. This was the first time they went on the plane when they came down to the UK. And for me to be able to do that, and my siblings, because my younger brother is abroad as well. My sister is here in London. And we look at the challenges that we've had those times, and it boils down to, it will not happen immediately, but it will happen eventually if we just continue and keep pushing. Like, life is hard, but if we keep going, there's so many good things that can still happen for us. I believe that because I've experienced it. I've seen people that it has happened to. I've seen people that we were, like, this house behind us, there were about 7 or 10 of us that used to be in one room. Some people will sleep on the floor. You know, when you cannot sleep in the line of symmetry of the bed, so you sleep the other way, and everybody will put their feet on the floor, and some people will sleep on the floor. That was how we lived then. In that room, I think probably about 7 of us are now abroad, if not more. My brother is abroad. There was a guy in that room that ended up working for one of the biggest cloud companies in the world. He did his MBA at Chicago Booth, and these are the people that we just sit down on Saturday in the morning, not knowing what is going to happen, just eating bread and we are going and playing Ludo. When you see things like that happen, it gives you that understanding, like, wow, let us just hang on there and keep progressing, keep trying our best. Great things can really, really happen if we don't give up. Coming back to our main theme of the day, attitude. Attitude is very, very important. There is this quote, I think it is by Zig Ziglar, that said, it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that will determine your altitude. Your aptitude can get you in. Let's say you went for a degree, you had a degree, or you have a master's, you get a job. You do the question and answer test, you do all the assessments, and you are able to get a job. That is your aptitude. That is your knowledge. But the way you look at that job, the way you approach that job, the way you carry yourself in that job, are you that person that is very inquisitive? Are you that person that is keen to learn? Are you that person that is keen to grow? Trust me, the people above, they really, really do understand what is going on. If you are that person that gets to work very, very early, or the kind of person that gets to work very late, and you are the first person that wants to leave work, they can actually see. They know exactly what is going on. So when the time comes for promotion and you are not on the list, you should not be angry if you've not actually put in the effort. So, but what are the things that shapes our attitude generally about life, generally about the way things are? And one key thing is our beliefs. Do we actually, what kind of belief do we hold? Do we hold a victim's kind of belief, or we hold a fighter's kind of belief? Do you think like, this thing has happened to me, like, I feel cheated, I feel this way? It is very, very, very important, the way what we believe about life. Some of us, like where we grew up, it is very, very easy. Two people can have the same experiences and end up differently. Somebody can see, there was this story about 2 young men that their father was an alcoholic, and one of them turned out to be an alcoholic, the other one turned out to be very, very good. And when they asked the guy that turned out to be an alcoholic, he was like, look at my father, I just ended up like him. And when they asked the other guy, the other said, look, I saw my father, and I saw that I will do everything in my life to make sure I don't turn out like my father. And you look at the way the two of them have been able to convert the same experience because they have a different attitude to what they got from their father. So what is your attitude about life? Do you have a positive attitude? Do you believe it's impossible? Do you believe it's possible? And this is very, very hard because of the environment that some of us have grown up in. Some of us lack mentors. Some of us lack people to show us, you know, what is going on, how to go about life. So those kind of experiences have totally shaped our outlook of life. And this is us trying to draw us back and say, look, it is not exactly, because the challenge we have as young people is knowing what the truth is. And as the Bible says, the truth, you know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Once you know the truth that where you are, you know, where you were born will not determine where you can get to, or you don't see any dream too big for you to get, then it will start shaping, okay, if this thing is actually possible, how can I get it? But for some of us, we don't see it. We don't think it is even possible. This is where genuine curiosity comes in. You have to be able to probe some things and say, look, what is going on here? I want to know about this. I want to ask questions. And this day and age, it is very easy to get information. Back in the days, they used to say people were against printing press because they don't want people to be educated. That was way, way back. But in this day and age, you can actually seek and get as much information as possible if you are really, really, really interested in it. And this is one thing we have to hold. There is so much information out there about what we want if we truly, truly are interested in it. And as I was talking about our area then, we had Akala, which is a very, very notorious drug then. It still is today. We had Empire as well, a very notorious area for brothels. And it is still there. I think they dismantled it at some point. You know, when you grow up in that kind of environment, so many things can happen to you and you think, you just need to see beyond that environment to say, okay, I may come from here, but there is something else for me. I feel life can be better than what I am seeing now. And that is very, very important. And there's this quote by Lao Tzu. I think it was the one that wrote The Art of War. And he said, you should watch your thoughts, they become your words. You should watch your words, they become your actions. And your actions will become your habits will become your character, and your character will become your destiny. Your attitude about life will affect the way you approach life. And the way you approach life will affect the way life will eventually turn out. If you are that person that wants to wake up in the morning and plant maize, you know that in the next 3 months you will expect maize. But if you have an attitude that says, well, maybe this maize is not going to grow, that means you will not put the effort to plant the maize. And the knock-on effect will that in the next 3 months, you are not going to get maize. And very, very important, we take this thing on board and start, you know, developing that attitude, that positive attitude towards what we want. And one thing I understand is that God has given us the power of choice. We can choose anything that we want to do. God has given us that dominion, as they say, that go for anything. But you first of all have to believe that you are capable of getting that thing. If you don't believe, then you cannot have the attitude of chasing it. And if you can't have the attitude of chasing it, your actions will not show the action of someone that actually wants it. And then we'll just end up by the roadside. And there's a quote there by Henry Ford that says, if you think you can, you are right. And if you think you can't, you are right as well. It depends on what you think you can do. So that's just a bit of summary about attitude. So projecting into the future, where do we want to find ourselves in the next 5 years? What are our plans? Someone said you should not treat life casually. You know, don't just like sleepwalk into it and think it will eventually happen. Some of us have got COS sponsorship visas. We are tied to our sponsors, you know, for a couple of years. But when you leave that sponsor, maybe the sponsor is not paying you a lot of money now. when you leave that sponsor, what is your plan after that? You know, we have to know these kind of things. I was sharing a story recently about when I got my first credit card and I got £100. When even as at the time that I got £100, I already had the information about how to buy a house. I already knew it. I just knew that, okay, this is the step that I need to take. It is baby steps. Okay, the lenders don't know me yet. Let me start taking that steps bit by bit, you know. And that is how, once I had that understanding, I was like, okay, I'll do this well. I'll manage this well. I'll manage my job well. I knew what I need to save in my job. I need what I need to do in terms of borrowing and how to balance it up to make sure that I ended up becoming a landlord. If I didn't have that plan, there was no way it was going to work. So what are your plans for the next 5 years? Don't think these £30,000 a year, these £40,000 a year that you are getting, that is your limit. No, you can get £100,000 a year. It is possible if you actually have a plan to get it. I shared a story recently when I phoned an agency and I said I wanted to be an engineer. And the lady was like, how much is my rate? And I told the lady then that, my rate is £15 per hour. And she called, what she mentioned back was that, are you sure you are an engineer? Because I thought if I reduced my rate, I'll be able to get the job. But she told me that, look, the going rate for engineers is £20 per hour. So if you are saying you want to get £15 per hour, that means you don't have the skills that you claim to have. And that is what I later understood about this economy. You know, the economy will pay you for your value. There are some of us that are in Africa, Nigeria, and we have a lot of unemployment around us. And one of the reasons is that we know our story economically, how it has been for several decades. The world has now changed in such a way that you may not look at the Nigerian market as your work market anymore. You can look at the globe and say, okay, what services can I render that can go outside the borders? You know, what opportunities can I send outside the borders? There are people now that are tradesmen, let's say like fashion designers, that are designing clothes for people that are outside Nigeria, and they are making their money. You know, there are some people that have software skills and they are doing remote working. There was a lady that was telling me she was doing $4,000 and she's in Nigeria. She was doing $4,000 a month. And she said she doesn't spend more than $1,000. So she's saving the $3,000. She DM'd me because she wanted to know what she can do with $3,000. And I was like, $3,000 in this Nigerian economy, you have to spare $3,000. But if you don't have that information, you are not going to act on it and be that kind of lady. So what are our plans for the next 5 years? Are we going to be deliberate and intentional about it? Are we interested in it, or are we committed to it? Because there are two different things. I want to buy a car is different from I'm committed to buying a car. If you are committed to something, they said, how does this quote? He said, without commitment, you know, we can't get exactly where we want to go. So you have to commit to whatever actions it takes to get to where you want to be. You know, what we want will not happen overnight. It will happen over time. So there will be days when you go to the gym today, you are not going to the gym because you get 6 packs today. You're going to the gym because you know if you go to the gym consistently for 6 months, you will have that summer body. Not that when June is around the corner, that's when you now start going to the gym. Now that it is cold, this is the time. When it is cold, when it is rainy, when it is messy, this is the time you put in those consistent reps so that by summer, you end up having the body that you want. So we want to actively pursue those goals by breaking down the big goals into small actionable steps. If I want to do something that is so big, say, okay, what can I do every day? What can I do every weekend to push towards this goal that I want to achieve? So here are some tips that can help us along the journey. Number one, I said communication. one of the big problems that I had because of the challenges and where I came from is that we keep things to ourselves a lot. How are you doing? I'm fine, I'm fine. Whereas we know that we are not fine. You know, we don't talk, we don't share experiences, we are just dying inside. We are not even confident to present things like that. So public speaking is a good part of communication. If you need to go to Toastmasters, be going to Toastmasters, where people will train you. I mean, you get the support of people, how to stand up and talk publicly. I was extremely shy going up. But when later I found out that coming from a poor background, being shy will rob me of a lot of opportunities. Then I made a strong commitment to say, no, I will be standing up, I'll be talking, I'll be asking for what I want. Because if I let the fear of rejection stop me from asking, then there is a good chance that I will not get what I want. And there's this quote by Steve Jobs that said, if you are scared to fail, like if you are scared to do what you want, you will not get very far. And that is true. The people that are making waves, a lot of them are not better than you. So you have to get your communication right, not be afraid of getting a rejection. You know, don't even worry about it, because don't attach any emotion to rejection, because as I am here, as I've shared, rejection is unlimited, you know, and it is only the yes that counts. The no's do not count. So you don't attach emotion to it. Just do what you have to do. Put it out there. Whatever comes back, let it come back. And then let your confidence come from competence. You know, be good at what you choose to do. Whatever that you choose to do. Maybe you want to be an engineer, you want to be whatever you choose to do. Make sure that you are doing your best to make sure you are the best at what you do. Not just like speaking confidently, but there is no substance. Make sure that you are extremely good at what you have chosen to do, because it is excellence that will give us a seat at the table, because there is nepotism everywhere. That's normal. You can't fight that. But you have to be so good. Be like, what can we do now? This guy we just have to let him in, because he's too good at what he's doing. She's too good at what she's doing. There's no way we can pass this thing if she doesn't have an input. That is our only way through the door. Discipline in the face of distractions. In today's world, where you have so many apps, so many social media apps, pinging, it is focus is now as rare as anything else. So you want to make sure everything you want to do, you are extremely disciplined about it, because motivation is good, but it is discipline that will get you that thing you want. And how you spend the time, what you commit your time to, that is what will reveal what will happen to you in the next few years. Because some of us don't have money, we only have time. And that time is the most important asset. So we have to be like disciplined in terms of how we use our time. Jim Rohn has a favorite quote that I like. He used to say, don't spend major time on minor things. You know, don't spend major time on minor things that don't count. Don't let them be seeing you there. You have to invest that time in where you want to be. And then seek mentors. Seek mentors. Whatever you want to do, there is someone that has done it before. I used to go online and just read people's profiles. You know, just read their profiles, try and understand their journey and be like, okay, maybe if I do this course, maybe if I do this course, this is how that person gets to where he is. You know, you must be able to understand and recognize patterns and say, okay, this guy went to this guy went to this. And it is so easy this day and age. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Twitter, you've got so many places where you can check people out. Oh, okay, this guy went to this guy did this. And when you seek mentors, you know, I follow so many people online because I am learning from them every day. I know I come from a disadvantaged background, but I cannot do without knowledge. So seek mentors. Some mentors will be able to take you step by step. Some of them, you'll just be shadowing them. You know, they will recommend something, you go and look it up, you go and read it, you go and develop yourself. Mentors are very important. and genuine curiosity about how things work. You have to be genuinely curious. If you are not a curious mind, trust me, you will miss out on some things. And in this day and age, the things you don't know can hurt you really, really bad. The things you don't know. And I was speaking to someone recently, graduated accounting and finance, and I was asking him, do you know what the CFA exam is? He said he doesn't know. Do you know? I was giving him some names in the finance world, and he said he didn't know. And I said, look, it is not what happens in your school alone that dictates what you'll be studying. You need to know what is going on outside school. Who are the people in the industry? Have they written any articles that you need to learn? Are there things that are happening that can enhance your profile, so that when you go to interview, they will know that, no, this guy is not just a class juniors. He knows what is happening in the industry as well. So you need to have genuine curiosity in terms of where you work, how you want to grow, and how you want to develop. And then a lot of us are in Africa now. We are now able to spread our tentacles globally. You know, Australia has skilled worker visa. New Zealand has skilled worker visa. UK has skilled worker visa. Ireland has skilled worker visa. The EU has, all of them have skilled worker visas. Germany, France, Netherlands, they all have it. But do you have the skills that they are looking for? Can you do some research and do some work on yourself to become that skillful in such a way that you'll be able to get jobs in these countries? You'll be able to get maybe contracts for remote working in these countries. It is hard. It is not very, very easy, but it is possible due to the way the internet has connected the whole world now. Look at me here in the United Kingdom. Dr. Abi is in Hull. So many of us have joined there, and we are here sharing experience and knowledge. So that is the same way jobs are being shared as well all over the world. You know, it is now much, much, much easier than ever before. I was listening to a podcast. They were British people talking about developing software and all of that. And they were saying, we hire some developers from Nigeria. And they were, the Nigerian developers are very good. And I thought, wow. So these things are actually possible. And it was like a proper British podcast. It's not like produced by a Nigerian or anything. And they just dropped it there, and I just picked on it. I thought, hire developers from Nigeria. That means these things are actually happening. So spread your tentacles around for global opportunities. Don't look at where you are alone. Don't look at the state alone. Don't look at the country alone. Spread your tentacles around. And trust me, in the next few years, if we put our acts together and chase vigorously, great things can really, really happen. So there are a couple of slides there at the end where I just put places where you can find jobs if you are looking for jobs all around the globe and things like that. And then when you now get the job, when you start making the money, what do you do with the money? You know, how do you start investing? How do you start doing things? And, you know, just stop growing, just like continue to grow in leaps and bounds. And when I started working, I started reading a lot about investing and finance, like things that we were never taught, things that we don't talk about. There are, I mean, a lot of rich people get lucky, but there are also some things that the rich know that we don't know where we come from. So we have to do a dig deep. You know, there's this book, Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And I read that book, I was like, wow. So this is how a lot of people manage their money. This is how they grow their money. Some people have started investing for their child right from the time the day that child is born. And those things are actually possible. But do we even know how to do it? Do we even know how the stock market works? Do we even know how real estate works? These are places where we can spend a lot of time and do some research, grow our financial knowledge. And then when we are working, we're able to split our income, some bit for soft life, another bit for investing for the future. Those are the kind of places where we want to be in the next couple of years. So please, let's make a commitment, you know, change our attitude to things, change our attitude to work, change our attitudes to life, you know, have an upbeat attitude about it and believe in ourselves that it is actually very, very possible. So I'll stop there for now. We'll take questions. Left to me, I can talk till tomorrow. Talking is very, very easy for me. So we can take some questions, and then those questions will help us to take specific areas related to the people asking the questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Abi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I didn't want you to stop talking, you know. You know, each time I have the opportunity to share, you know, people's experience, life experience, it's always very inspiring, because I also started from a humble beginning. And the truth is, life is not easy. It's really, really hard there. And what makes the difference? Our attitude. You know, like you rightly said, Henry Ford, if you believe you can, then you can. Because if you believe you can, you would take every step towards achieving that dream. You would, you know, concentrate, focus on the goal, and ignore every distraction. The truth is, it doesn't come easy. We all want soft life, but there's a cost for it. It's hard, it's tough, it's challenging. You know, sometimes we see some people, things have become so easy for them, and then we're like, oh, this person is lucky, that person is lucky. But when you listen to their story, you know that they had a price to pay. Listen to you, Engineer Toyib. Very, very humble beginning. See what you had to go through to get here, to start schooling. It was tough, it was hard. In between it, you were ill. 6 months, everything went down. Had to start, you know, living in someone's house, sleeping on the, it doesn't come easy. I always like to talk about two things. One, circle of friends. Look around you. Who are the people that you surround yourself with? Look at your circle of friends. Look at their lives. Look at what they are doing. If you surround yourself with people, you know, that can't even help themselves, then you will also revolve around that same circle. You know why? Because the truth is, they cannot give you what they don't have. You've surrounded yourself with people that, you know, lack information, people that don't even have goals, or people that are still struggling to even find out what they really want to do with their lives. They can't help you, that's the truth. So look at your circle of friends. Who are the people around you? My own idea is, I like to surround myself with people that are doing way, way better than I am, because they inspire me. Because if if you just limit the people in your circle to those that you're just, you know, on the same, then you don't get pushed. So for me, I get pushed because I look forward. I like to mingle with people that are way, way, way ahead of me, because they inspire me. So look at your circle of friends. If you need to drop some, drop them. If you need to acquire new ones, acquire. It's just the way it is. Then I also want to mention circle of concern. You know, life is so difficult, that's the truth. And there's this very big circle of concern, you know, around every one of us. And we worry a lot. We worry about life. We worry about food. I want to get a house. I need to go to school. I need to do this. I want to get married. I want to have children. So many worries in that circle. Now, if you look inward, in that big circle of concern that you've got, there's a smaller circle in it, a circle of influence. If you look inward, out of all those concerns, look at, okay, this is all my issues. Among all these issues, which are those ones that I can influence? Which among these issues or problems or challenges, if you speak to someone, that you might be able to get help? If you acquire this skill, you might be able to, up your game. if you take this step, you might be able to move forward. Influence it. Focus on that which you can influence instead of worrying about the larger circle of concern. Now, there's also a smaller circle inside it. The third one, the smallest one, which is your circle of control. In that circle are things that you have the power to control. For example, your emotions. Your happiness is not dependent on anybody. You can make up your mind, you know what? Irrespective of anything, I'm gonna be happy. That is me. I don't care, really, I don't care. No one can make me sad except I wanna be. So sometimes people look at me like, she's not serious, does she ever get sad? I have my moments, but I have made up my mind that, you know what? Irrespective of what is happening around me, my happiness is not dependent on anyone. I am gonna be happy. So there are things that are within your control. Focus on that which you can control. Focus on that which you can influence. And leave the larger one, because the larger one is actually things that are not within your control. So why worry about it, okay? So at this point, we would like to take questions. And I would, if you would like to, ask directly, ask the guest speaker directly, can you please signify by, clicking on the raise hand tab, or you can also drop your questions in the chat box. And Toib, I really want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much this evening. You've really, really dropped a lot for us, and I am inspired.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am inspired. Comments, questions? Is anyone raising her hand? Do you have questions? Okay. Okay, so there's one question here, Engineer Toy. From Eva, if I'm right. She said, my question is this. I am interested in studying counseling psychology in Canada. I have learned I can have opportunities that can allow me to tag my husband and child. How can I get fully funded scholarship for Canada? Maybe you can share even for sites for job, okay, particularly on mental health. This is not really clear. Eva, are you happy to speak? Can you raise your hand if you're still in this meeting? Oh, great. Okay. Okay, Eva, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Eva.
Yes, thank you so much for this insightful webinar. I'm from Botswana. I'm currently in Botswana right now.
Hello.
Yes, I am actually interested in studying for my master's degree. I'm only 28 years old. So I'm interested to study my my master's degree. I think I particularly liked Canada with the few researches that I have made. I noticed that, or I have learned that some of the opportunities can allow me to take my family because I'm married. I have my husband and we have one child together. So I thought maybe Canada would do for us in terms of opportunities that can allow me to pursue my career and also going with my husband. So I thought maybe you may have information about where to look at, especially in terms of researching about all those opportunities.
Okay. Thank you, Eva, and thank you for joining the session. When did you
Yes.
graduate?
I graduated in 2019.
2019. That's like 4 years ago.
Yes, I think 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes. Have you been working in the field since then, or where you've been working is different from your field?
Okay, I did Bachelor of Education Counseling with a major subject called Guidance and Counseling, and
Okay.
then a teaching subject. So ever since I left school, I've been working as a teacher for uh, a, a, a teaching subject that I did at school. So I've been working as a teacher, not necessarily as a counselor or yeah.
Okay. So what masters are you shooting for now?
I would like to go for counseling psychology.
Okay, for counseling psychology. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your degree, how was the grade like? Was it I don't know how they class the degrees in Botswana. What was the degree like in terms of grade?
Okay, the grade is up to 5.0. The GPA is
Yes,
counted up to 5.0. So I got 3.8, which is a 76%.
that's a very good grade. So if you want, like, in terms of the funding, for the, like, abroad education is very, very expensive. What are you
Yes.
committing to it, or you are just looking for a fully funded scholarship?
Yes, the reason why I'm looking for a fully funded scholarship is that right now, honestly speaking, I don't have any funds for me to say I can commit to this opportunity because
Okay.
I'm currently, even though I've been working as a teacher, it's on a temporary basis, a contract basis. Sometimes the contracts would start and finish after a year or a short period of time. So it has not been reliable. Even the salary has not been really enough. It has just been enough for me to just to take care of my needs and my family, and that will be it.
Okay. So, Eva, from my experience, this is what I will tell you, and you
Yes.
can also do some more research on it. So now that we've established that you want a fully funded scholarship, we can't be too specific in terms of where we
Okay.
want to go. So
Yes,
I
yes.
want you to spread your tentacles and
Okay.
not be fixated on Canada alone. Look at Europe as well. There's the
Okay.
Okay, I was muted for a bit. So
Yes.
look at Europe, look at the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. In the UK,
Okay.
have the Chevening scholarship and different type of ones like that. MasterCard scholarship, they have that.
Yes.
In the US, if you can write, like, there are some exams that you may need to write. But this is how I want you to approach it. There is one website called for ICU. That means number 4, then ICU.org. If you go there and you say you want universities in Canada, this is what we used to do back then. We say
Okay.
universities in Canada, we search for all the universities in Canada. We go to each website of each school and go to the admissions office or go to see where they have financial aid and scholarship. And we go through each and every one of them like that. We send them an
Okay.
email to say, look, this is my profile. This is what I've done. I want to enroll for this course. And you'll find out that whatever an agency will tell you, you will also find it out yourself. You
That's
see,
true.
you would, like, doing that legwork. I knew by the time I was doing these things that we were doing, I knew admission officers by their first name. Some of them had my number because I was so close to them. I'll send them an email, I'll ring them up. I'll send them an email, I'll ring them up. My house in Lagos back then, I used to have, you see the way I have these books here? That's how I used to have prospectus in my house back then. Even my mom still found some of them recently, and she was like, Wale, all this book that I used to carry up, and I said, throw it away, throw it away. You know, that is how much you have to put into it. Because if you don't do that, that means you've delegated that task to someone else. You know,
True,
and
sir.
it will be someone else that will help you to be doing everything. So everything you need in terms of SOP, statement of purpose. Some of those scholarship people, they like that as much as you have a good grade, you also have like leadership roles that you are playing, which is very good in this area that you are doing teaching. What other works are you doing? You know, things like SDG goals, SDG education, girl child, those kind of things. You have to be actively involved and document it. Those are the things that will boost your SOPs, you know. And there are a couple of people that that share some educational scholarship and things like that. I will share it with Dr. Abi, some usernames that I know that they share scholarship informations and everything like that. And then you can also follow them on social media. You know, you don't need to pay for anything in this day and age. There is much, much, much information online by yourself if you are ready to sit down and just chase it. You know, if you commit 2 hours, because you want a full funded scholarship, you should know that you are not the only one that wants this scholarship. There are people all over the world chasing this scholarship. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to chase it? Are you going to commit 2 hours a day to like send emails to professors, send emails to admission office, review your applications, you know, have an understanding about how your SOP should look like? There is one of our friends in Canada. His name is Dr. Olumuyiwa Ayo. He even has a YouTube channel called Scholarship Cafe, where he talks about scholarships. He's a doctor in a university of, I think he was in British Columbia, and then he moved to another university. And all those information are there, you know, that you can just use to yourself and then fine tune it to your own profile and work on it. So I can guarantee you that if you devote much time to it in the next few months, you will know your direction. And like they say, direction is much more important than speed. You may not get it immediately, but if you stay the course, you will eventually get it. You know, so let's take it like that.
Yes, sir. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I've been doing my researches, sending emails, and, you know, I'm on it. I'm really on it. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. No problem. Thanks, Eva.
Thanks, Eva. I want to encourage you to keep doing that. Don't get tired of doing it. You will definitely get what you want, but don't get tired, okay?
Yes, ma. Thank you.
We are going to drop some link to our social media platforms to subscribe onto, because we'll be sharing this recording on that platform, and then we'll be sharing some links, you know, that could also help your search on that platform. So you might be able to pick up 1 or 2 things from there. Okay. We have another question, Engineer Toy.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so this is from Jim. Jim, if you're still in the audience, please, do you want to signify by raising your hand? So he said, some of us do not have the resources to relocate abroad for work. As a Nigerian, how do I become financially intelligent?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Abi. As a Nigerian, there is a lot of resources that are online that we could use to improve our financial education. There was one of these books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, was a very, very famous book back then by Robert Kiyosaki, and he just talked about cash and what the rich people do. They hold assets, they don't hold cash. And then you can take it a step further. That book that I mentioned earlier, Psychology of Money, by Morgan Housel, you have to be committed that you want to read these books, you know, and chase them. And there is another one, Learn to Earn by Peter Lynch. That's a very good book to read as well. One thing that is very, very important is that we must not forget that the dollar, I mean, I'm not talking to you now as a financial advisor, I'm talking to you as your brother. The dollar is the reserve currency of the world. The dollar is what everybody is looking for. Even Nigerian government is looking for dollar. Everybody is looking for dollar. So what you want to do is that once you have your saving, you are making your money in Naira, you want to diversify your assets. You don't want to have all your assets in Naira alone. You want to diversify the currency in which you have your assets in. And then when you read books like Psychology of Money, Learn to Earn by Peter Lynch, there's another one, A Simple Pathway to Wealth by J.L. Collins. I really, really like that because he talked about how to allocate your resources over a long term by just consistently doing a couple of things. And there are a lot of platforms that you can use to assess dollar assets now, like Bamboo. What other one is there? I think Bamboo is a very famous one. I think there's RiseVest as well for people in Nigeria. But don't be in a hurry to start investing. First of all, seek the knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, then you'll be confident in what you are doing. And that is what I want us to do. I mean, my Instagram page also has some recordings that I've done before on what I've been doing, investing and helping as well. So please check them out.
Thank you, Engineer Toib. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Someone said, can we have a monthly mentorship session on Zoom?
Okay.
Well, I'm sure we can ask Engineer Toib nicely to come back again. I know he won't say no.
No problem.
Thank you very much. And we also have some other seminars lined up for the next 6 months. For example, in December, we have Ask the Immigration Lawyer. And we're going to be bringing an immigration lawyer, to come and speak to us about settlement. What are the different routes available to you? And whatever immigration question you have, you would have the opportunity, to engage with the immigration. So we have but you can only have this information if you subscribe, because that is where we're going to be leaving the information, leaving the flyers, leaving the notification for the webinars. So yeah, so that's that. Engineer Toib, we have another question. This is from Abraham.
Okay.
Abraham. Thank you, Ma, for everything. Thank you, Engineer Toib. I also have similar experiences. I was diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder 1 when pursuing my bachelor's degree in systems engineering in the University of Lagos. I also came from a very humble background. I am currently studying in Unilorry, Business Information Technology. I chose to try academics again. It's beautiful. I am 26 years old and I have few digital skills, graphic design and web design with Wix and Shopify, e-commerce. I'm currently learning to have more depth in these skills. I am seeking advice or resources on making extra income, preferably online, and also other opportunities that can generate me income as I pursue my academics side by side and fulfill both, sir. I'm currently on medication, atypical antipsychotic and mood stabilizers. So I can manage some work with academics. Your candid response, sir, will go a long way, Engineer.
Thank you very much, Abraham. I want to congratulate you and salute you for pushing through against all odds. It is not very, very easy. You have been very, very strong. I mean, I've been there. I know what it is like. The system is very, very hard. You could be stuck in the system and not do anything for so many years, but you've tried, you've pushed ahead, you're back in education, And congratulations, you are thriving. You are doing really, really well. Now, in terms of what you want, work and doing some things on the side, part-time, remotely, what I would want you to do is to expose yourself more. You know, I don't know if you have a Twitter handle. I don't know if you have a LinkedIn handle. I mean, I'm just going to come to LinkedIn in the next few weeks and just be working because I'm just trying to do so many things across all platforms at the same time, which is very, very difficult. But I want you to come onto these handles and show the world what you can do. You know, come and share your experience, write, you know, have a Medium account, or even if, I mean, I started writing on Twitter back in 2020. And I can tell you the kind of people that I have met just from sharing my experience and sharing my story, it is unbelievable. I couldn't even believe where that has taken me. It has given me a path to a new career apart from construction, you know. So, and that is the power of being out there. So I want you to bring all the skills that you have, bring it out to the marketplace. If you know how to design, maybe you can do product design, or you can do a bit of software engineering, as you said. Bring all these skills, bring it to the marketplace, bring it on LinkedIn, send cold emails to people to say, you know, you may just need one client. Just one client is enough. If one client is paying you a certain amount of dollars every month to help them manage their website or to help them manage this, you'll be all right. But I'm not sure of how much you are out there, because all these tech people, a lot of them hang around on Twitter. You know, I've met like startup founders, all of them, like so many of them I meet on Twitter all the time. And then one of our sisters like that invited me to Founders Connect that they did recently in London, and the whole place was full of tech founders. You know, so if you come to the internet, you know, share your experience, share your journey, share the work that you are doing, you know, you get small things that can actually keep you going. But I salute you on your journey so far, and I would love us to connect. I mean, if you can reach out to Dr. Abi, and then I would love us to connect, and then we can monitor your growth, see how you are growing, and then see what support you can get, because it is not easy. What I went through to come back, oh my God. And the funny thing is that my parents were not here. I didn't have that, well, sorry, those kind of things. I just had to like, oh God. You know, there will be days where you just don't want to get up. There will be days where you don't want to do anything. You know, someone saw me one time and said, Wale, it looks like you go back to Nigeria. You don't look like you are abroad at all. I can't forget. But, you know, all that is behind now. So thank you for not giving up. And I'm sure you are on to great things. But please, let's see how we can bring you out there and show your skills to the world.
Thank you, Engineer Toib. So I have another question here. Okay, first I would, Florence said, Ma'am, can you and Engineer Toib also talk about practical ways of growing a business in some of the upcoming webinars?
Okay, yeah, definitely. One thing about business, I'm not sure where you're talking about, if it's the UK or Nigeria, but I'll be UK specific, is that it is your visa that actually determines if you can be self-employed or not. So let's say you are working, you've got a COS visa, and your partner can be self-employed. And even students that come here, you know, apart from those ones that can't do it from January anymore, the partner of a student visa holder, like I've read everywhere, can be self-employed as well. Then you now look and say, what kind of business do you want to do? What community do you want to serve? Are you going to be a business that serves the Nigerian community or the diaspora community, or you want to be a business that serves general? There are a lot of our people that have been opening African restaurants, you know, and their business is thriving. They are able to do it. So it's more or less is not more of if you can start a business or not, because it is your visa that determines that. But once you've now established that you want to start a business, what kind of service do you want to render? Because you know this country, there are laws everywhere. You cannot just start cooking food for people if you've not got all the food licenses that you should get. You know, if it is buying and selling, what do you want to be doing? Some people are doing personal shopping. So there are lots of businesses. You know, you can register a business if your visa allows you. Register company's house. It takes probably about 20 or 30 pounds to register your company. Then you now take an accountant. But how to draw revenue is the main thing now. What business do you like to offer to people that they can pay you for? Do you want to be doing cleaning windows? The business is there. If you want to be doing hair for people, the business is there. So it depends on what type of business you have. In terms of having a business plan, what is your route to revenue? What is your route to profitability? What is your value proposition? What are you willing to give the customer? And then you get money from them. So there is no issues about starting business. If your visa allows it, you can. But it is your own personal plan in terms of what you want to do and what kind of service you want to render. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to take 2 more questions, after which Dr. Promise said he has a contribution, and then we'll close for the day. So, Engineer Toib, someone said, how do you encourage some of our African brothers and sisters who come into this country and want to get rich overnight? Please just say something about that issue.
that is very, very hard. You know, getting rich overnight is very, very hard. And one thing I want us to know is that this country is not a country of 60 years. It's not a country of 20 years. They have built the system of this country for centuries. So to think you are going to come and fast track anything is very, very hard. The only way you can beat is competence and value creation. That is the only way you can make immense money in this economy. You know, do you want to develop an app that so many people are using? You know, there was one young guy, his name is Timothy Amo. He's from Ghana. He grew up here, and he founded a business called FanBite. And that FanBite business, he grew that business, and he sold that business for tens of millions of pounds. And that is how he became rich. So there is anything that you want to fast track that is nothing that is not from value creation, just forget it. You will be caught up with sooner or later. I know so many people that dabbled in so many things and they just got burnt. So set your mind up to say, what I want to do in this country, I will work hard by being valuable. You know, in my career, I was once a laborer, as I said before. I moved on to, and as I was going, one pound, two pound was going on my money per hour, you know, and that's how it grows. You know, there is no time I am not doing a course. There is no time I am not studying something. There is no time I'm not thinking of, okay, what else can I do to boost my my value in the marketplace? And as I'm getting the money, I'm looking after myself. I'm setting some money aside to invest in, maybe buy Apple shares, buy Facebook shares, hold it for as long as possible, and just watch it mature. That is the only way to get ahead. You know, it doesn't happen like in a flash. We have to have that what word would I use? You know, you have to know that it is a simple step-by-step approach that you use to get what you want. In terms of building your credit in this country, it is not something that will happen in a flash as well. When I started, as I said before, they gave me £100, and then they gave me 200, and then they gave me 300, and then they gave me 1,000. It is that consistent growth that you are going to get. And then lenders will now see that, this guy has been long enough, you know, in the system, and they say, okay, let us borrow him 50,000. to go and do a business. You have to pay. They've built that system in such a way that you have to pay into the system very, very well before you take out of it. Any attempt to try and get out without paying in, it's not advisable. One can get your hand really, really, really burnt. So face a legit way of making money, build a profile. And the good thing about this country is that if you are worth it, they will pay you. I know QSs that get £400 a day. I know engineers that get about the same. You know, it just depends on wherever you choose. When I was trying to sort what I wanted to do, I met someone that told me, said, pick anything. He said, pick anything. Just be very, very good at it. You will get paid. In this economy, if you are very, very good at what you choose, especially if visa is no longer holding you, when you are no longer struggling with COS. COS people can pay you low because they are sponsoring your visa. That is okay. But the moment you grab yourself away from them and you are free, put fire and just blow. There was one of our brothers that said he had a PhD in computer engineering, in software engineering. He even had the PhD, I think, at Imperial College. Very, very brilliant guy. He said the company that sponsored him, they were paying him so low. And then he now found out what they were paying someone else. And he now confronted them and they said, because, is it because you're sponsoring my visa? That's why you're paying me so low. You know what he did? He now went to do like global talent visa. That was what he went to apply to. And you know, with global talent visa, he's free. He doesn't have to work with anybody. When he got that visa and he went to show them at work, and then they increased his salary. He said, no, I'm not staying. I know what my worth is, and I'll get it outside. He just bought a house recently because he moved away from the shackles of those employers. He knew his value, and he went all out for it. So it is that excellence that we will use to succeed in this land, not any other mago-mago way. Thank you. Thank you,
Engineer Toib. To the person that asked that question, it takes time and is a step at a time. You need to take it easy, be patient, do the right things legally, be consistent, be focused. But I tell you, you'll get there. You know, I remember when I was, I started earning the minimum wage. I think then it was £7 something, you know, per hour. And it was, you know, big money to me. I was just so excited until I got the opportunity to start lecturing. And I jumped from £7 something to 20, I think they started on 22 and then it moved up. I didn't believe it. You know, it was a whole lot of, it was a whole lot of difference. But I thought that was it until I met someone and we were talking and I thought, oh, and I discovered that this person was earning £500 per day, a business analyst. And my eyes popped out. I didn't believe it, that's the honest. I didn't believe it until I saw the pay slip. I knew. So there are people that earn, forget it, everything is possible. But you know what? It also comes with a price. You need to earn your skills. What's your goal? What are those skills that you need, you know, to position yourself? You need to strategically position yourself. And these things take time. So please, take it easy, slow down, no hurry, so that you don't, you know, find yourself where you don't want to be. It has happened to some people. That is just my candid advice. So I'm taking this question. Sir, what's your advice for those who came to the UK with COS? What are the things they can put in place before 5 years? I think this person is looking at settlement indefinite after the 5 years thing. So a piece of advice would be.
Thank you very much. I think there are quite a number of things that you can put in place before that 5 years. One of the things you can put in place is looking after your credit score, making sure that you've built your credit score very well. get a small credit card, manage it very, very well, build because there is your normal profile and there is your financial profile as well that lenders are looking at. So that by the time you come out of that 5 years, you have a good credit score, you have a good credit profile, and then you can now start pushing for other things, maybe taking loans for a business or buying a house or buying different kind of things. That is one thing that you can work on in that 5 years that can work very, very well. And I know that your pay might not be very, very big. So another thing you want to do is that even if it is £100 every month, you want to be putting into an account, maybe for yourself, maybe for your children, take advantage of things that they call like ISA, investment savings account. For like your children, for example, you can start putting something in, there's this website called vanguard.co.uk. I did some recordings on it. I'll do some other ones on it, where you can just watch and understand exactly. Because when you understand what you are doing, then nobody will tell you before you do it, So you can start putting something away for your children, say £100 a month or £50 a month, invested in assets that they will collect when they are 18 years old. We know what happened to us because of the struggles our parents had and they couldn't leave anything for us. Now that we know what we know, we must not, let our children just go just like that. We want to leave something for them and say, you are 18, you to take this. Maybe that's the money that they will use to go and deposit for their own house or start a business. We want to now be growing in leaps and bounds. So you can look after your credit score. You can start putting money away for yourself, for your pension, or for your children as well. Because some of us come here really, really late, in terms of age. So when you now finish the working life, what are we going to be sitting on? We have to think of that financial part as well. So putting money away for yourself, putting money away for your children, looking after your credit score, those are the kind of things that you can do. And then I'm sure you have about, according to your skilled worker visa, you should have an extra 20 hours that you can do as you like. What skills can you hone in time, that you'll be super, super, super ready? Do you still want to stay in the route that you are in after 5 years, or you want to change your route? You must know that any skill you spend 5 years acquiring, in 5 years, you'll be good enough to shoot ahead and do so many things. So just take your time. 5 years is not very, very long, though. I can assure you. Time goes really, really fast. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting as much skills as possible. And particularly that credit profile. Once you sort that out, by the time you are free from your COS and you want to move on to another career, you'll be able to say, okay, the bank already knows me now. Bank, you give me 5,000, let me do this. Give me 3,000, let me do this, or 20,000 when you do it. It depends on the relationship you have with the lenders, and hopefully that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Toib. The questions won't stop coming, but we have to.
I know.
Well, let's take these two and then call on Dr. Promise to make his contribution, and then we'll close for the day. So this person said, Doctor, please speak on advising a Nigerian first-class graduate aspiring to study in the UK university for master's degree. Do we need English language proficiency test or not necessary?
Okay, if your degree is in English, I think you may have an exception. But if you are a first-class graduate, like there are lots and lots of opportunities for you. I mean, not necessarily even in UK alone, in other parts of the world as well. That Erasmus Mundus is good for first-class graduates. You can chase that up. Mastercard scholarship is in UK. Chevening is in UK. As a first-class graduate, your opportunities are limitless. The limits you put on yourself is the only limits that you have. But you really, really, really have to be out there talking to people that can help you, where you can learn about putting your SOPs together, your personal statement, and all the things that you need in UK. to study anywhere in the world. We talked about Dr. Olumoyiwa. He has a website, Scholarship Cafe. There are quite a number of them on Twitter like that. Soma Okibe, she's in Canada. She does things like this as well. There are a lot of them on Twitter that they just tweet things that you can just go and work on, and you see miraculously how good things can get. In terms of English, I think if your course is taught in English language, you should get an exception to study here in the UK. I don't think you need to do English test again. And then also, individual universities have their own scholarships as well. London School of Economics have their scholarship, University of Birmingham, they have scholarship. A guy got a scholarship in one university in Scotland recently, and it was fully funded as well. It's not the notable ones, but the school themselves, they have those scholarships on their websites. So you have to take the effort of, if you Google universities in the UK, all of them will fall at you. Just go to their page, admissions, scholarship, see what they want, send them an email, get a response back. That is how you follow it up one by one, because we are in November now. You could be in UK next September with full scholarship if you start working on it now. You don't leave it till May, till June. You have to start early and start working on it. And the thing is that by the time, there are so many things a consultant will tell you. If you go to a consultant, some of them will tell you what they have in their head that has been there for several years. But if you go and email the school directly, you'll be hearing from the horse's mouth straight away. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. You push one, you push two, you push three. If you are talking to about 20 schools at the same time or 30 schools at the same time, there's no way you will not know what to do in a few months. So, and like I said, don't look at UK alone. Spread your tentacles far and wide. There's one of our brothers that is in Poland. I met him on Twitter as well. He checked everywhere. I think he was struggling. And then he went to Poland, and then he got scholarship in Poland. The US as well is full. Even with your first-class degree, one of our brothers, his mom sent me a DM, and his mom was like, my son got his first class in civil engineering. What should he do? I said, I can't tell him what to do, but let him go and follow these people and just be following them. He did that. He got a direct PhD from his degree in the US, and he's there now. So don't hold yourself back. You've already put in the hard work. It's time to get the reward. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Engineer Toib. You've done a great job. Well done, and congratulations. You know, coming out with a first class is I mean, commendable. All you need to do is put in the time. See, you've got what you need now. I don't think you need English proficiency, because in Nigeria, universities teach in English. So with your certificate, that should be enough for you. Put in time and start doing the search. Now there are loads and loads and loads of scholarship out there, but you need to take your time to, look at each university's website and apply. Just keep applying. One thing I might be able to help you with is your statement of purpose, because that is one strong thing that would quickly earn you an admission. And if you don't get it right, it's it can just, everything goes in the bin. So that's one area I could, help you with my expertise. But yes, you have loads and loads of opportunities, to explore. Okay. So the final question for tonight, Engineer Atoyi, I have a passion for forging ahead of my career, but my challenges here abroad are my children. I studied mechanical engineering back in Nigeria 13 years ago, but no work experience to showcase my talent. So I think this person is already here abroad, and this person is battling with childcare issues and has studied mechanical engineering back in Nigeria 13 years ago, no work experience. What advice you have for this person?
Okay. Wow. If the big challenge there is knowing what type of visa that person has now.
Exactly.
That is very, very important. Are they in a position of looking for sponsorship, or if no sponsorship is involved, there is a way that they can get started? How old are the children? You know, what is the issue with childcare? Will they start going to school? When are they going to school? Is a person here with a partner? How can they manage their childcare situation? Because sometimes it is the sacrifice of one person staying with the children while another person go to work. That might be the challenge that they have. But if the person we are talking about finds a job that childcare can come out of the salary, would they be able to leave the children and then go and work? That is very, very important. I think that visa is one of the critical things, because if they have no restrictions, you know, let's say they are not tied to a sponsor or anything, and they want to get back into mechanical engineering, then you can now pick which kind of mechanical engineering you want to get into. Do you want to do like plumbing? Do you want to do HVAC? Do you want to do whichever career path you choose? There is one of our brothers that came in, and that example will probably suit him well. That person came in as a dependent to a nurse. And when he came in, he did not have any restrictions because his wife already have the COS. He is just the dependent of the wife. And he went to study boilers, you know, boiler replacements, heating. That's what he went to study. He particularly went there to study that for like up to a year. And he got that gas safety certificate and everything. The last time he phoned me, he said he's doing 1,000 a week.
Wow.
And this is someone that came here less than 4 years ago. So what is important now is to understand that even that childcare issues can pass. It's something, it is a phase. If you don't have restrictions to your visa, once childcare is gone, you can jump back into any part and go and do NVQ2 or NVQ3. Construction is very, very busy. There's shortage of skilled people in construction. So, but that childcare issue, it is a problem that even the British citizens have. Some of them have to leave work for a couple of years for childcare, and some go back, some lose the motivation to go back. So it is down to your strong will to say that, okay, once I am clear of childcare, I'll pick myself up and go back again. There was one of our aunts that was close to 60. And when all the children have gone to university, everybody's graduated, everybody has left the house, she now enrolled to the university to do social work. Went to university back as an undergraduate again. And today, she works in the NHS. She's doing very well. But it takes a strong commitment for somebody that is close to 60 years to say, I want to go back to uni, I want to go and do this course. It's a strong commitment. So childcare issues, there is no magic we can do about that. It depends on who is going to, can you speak to your partner and get a good agreement? Maybe you can use this time of childcare to invest in like NVQ, in like courses that can get you in a position. And then once childcare problems are over, you know, you are able to drop the children in the school, and then you can now move straight away into the careers that you want. Because NVQ2, NVQ3, in whatever you want to do, a lot of time they even give you work placement if you go and do it in colleges here in the UK. So it really depends on how bad you want it, mapping out a plan to say, okay, this is the type of engineering I want to do, the mechanical engineering I want to do. Do I want to do automobile? Do I want to do HVAC? Do I want to do plumbing? Do I want to do heating? Do I want to do gas? There's so many fields that you can move into, but you must first of all have that plan and know how to get out of the childcare issues that we have. And sometimes you may not be able to get out of it. It's just like being patient and say, once the children are in school, here I go. But you need to have that plan before that time even comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Toib. Before I call on Dr. Promise to make his contribution, we have dropped in the chat box Engineer Toib's Twitter handle. Please follow him. He's always sharing vital information. You'll find it really helpful. He's always dropping loads and loads and loads and loads of information. Also, if you would like to be part of the upcoming webinars, we have dropped our social media handle. You can subscribe and follow us because that is where we're going to be posting the information. So at this point, I would like to call Dr. Promise to make his contribution. Thank you.
I want to say a very big thank you to Engineer Toyab for this wonderful exposition.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
I am very pleased. I'm pleased. Is one thing I want to contribute to say is that, you know, you talked about attitude and altitude, and talking about altitude, you're talking about elevation, you're talking about increase, you're talking about balance. And one having balance is knowing what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And now, a barrier to getting to this level is what? One of the barriers are pride. Pride is a barrier that many don't know, but they think they know. They don't want to learn. Someone will tell you, I'm coming from this place, this is who I am, this is the level I've gotten to, and you wouldn't want to learn. Now, there is no how you can get to that point where you will attain self-actualization in life. Now, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs says there is a great difference between self-actualization in life and the psychological needs. And now the difference between both is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Now, if you don't move with the right people, now in sciences, there's what we call vector quantity. Now, vector quantity has magnitude and a sense of direction. So following the right people is like having a sense of direction in life. Now, no matter what you've come to the UK with or wherever you are, now, for instance, those who are with COX and probably they are under sponsorship, while you are under sponsorship, you can still be building yourself in your career path. Now, meeting the right people, making friends with the right people. You being an engineer, you can't go and be making friends with someone who is selling scraps or selling tomato in the market. You differentiate the friends, you know the friends you make. You make contact and start mingling with people who have sense of direction in life. And you see, once you have gotten this, then that's when you know that you've started discovering yourself. Because if you fail to discover yourself, no one can discover you. So it's not until you've discovered yourself, then that is when you can now be a shining light in that discipline you are. So what I want to say is that for us to go duplicating some persons who they feel they are already successful, you are duplicating. I want you to know that you can be more than even that person you feel that is successful. And how can you be it? Discovering yourself. You see, when you are facing the sunlight, your shadow will always be at your back. So that shows someone who is focused on getting what he or she wants in life. So when you put that pride down, you abase yourself and learn from people who know it. You talked about mentorship. For instance, coming to the UK, now you have you've gotten African experiences. You have to come down to the level of those who've gotten the Western experiences. Learn from them if you must be successful in your career. And that is just it. So removing pride from you, bringing down yourself, and following those who have sense of direction, following those who know their onions, following those who know what they are doing. That's just it. Then you get to that point of self-actualization in life. I want to say a very, very big thank you to you. You've done great. You've done noble to this teaching this evening. I'm very, very grateful and pleased. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Promise, for your contribution.
Thank you, Dr. Promise. Thank you.
And thank you so much to our guest speaker for today, Engineer Toyiba Adelodun Adewale. I know you've got a very tight schedule, but thank you for honoring us. Thank you for sharing. I am very sure that a lot of people have really picked one or two things, valuable today. And I hope you would be happy to come back again and again. For example, to, teach people, or well, maybe not teach, but to share how people can easily, because it's quite easy to become, a property owner. It's just having the right information, moving the right direction, taking the right steps. It's quite easy. I'm hoping that one of, in future, you'll be happy to come, share. Thank you so much. So I want to say thank you so much for everyone. To everyone that has, participated and attended today's webinar. I hope you found it really, really helpful. And I hope you're going home with something, because that is the essence. So I'm just going to summarize this by saying that our attitude goes a long way to determine our altitude. We need information. If you're in the UK or anywhere, you need information. You need to surround yourself with the right people. You need to check your circle of friends. You need to, reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate yourself, reevaluate your life. Look at where you are now. Where do you want to be? Be sincere, be true to yourself, because I like to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself the truth. Because no one is going to tell you. People will tell you what you want to hear, but you know yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Where do you want to be? What do you need to achieve that? How do you go about it? Make sure that every day, even if it's this little, you're taking a step towards that goal. No one is saying it's going to be easy. Nobody is promising it to be. We all want soft life, but it comes with, there's a cost to it. But the good thing is what is achievable. And I'm going to end this with that quote from Henry Ford. Thank you, Engineer Toyi, for bringing that. If you believe you can, then you can. And if you think you can't, honestly, you can't. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Abi. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Dr. Promise. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye for now.